I have no slides. And I come here out of frustration. I do not know if I would have been invited to that breakfast that Gunhild was planning, but I am included in this broader setting where we are all together. So if that's a progress or I don't know, but I've been included. But I come here and I represent politics, and I come out of frustration because I feel that we are not up to scale to really catch the reality that EAT is trying to frame. And I come here with the experience from different kinds of politics. I worked at the World Health Organization, and I saw the world through the lens of health. And I saw how important health was for effective strategies of bringing people out of poverty, or the inverse, if we didn't succeed, a spiral down into poverty. I was foreign minister for 7 years, and I saw to what extent health determined relations between people, between states. Johan mentioned it. Few have actually referred to the fact that previous to the Syrian civil war, there were 4 years of consecutive drought in that country. And the Arab Spring can also be explained by food prices and social unrest. And then I had the privilege to serve as health minister for a year, not being a medical person. I discovered that everything that could prevent people from coming into the health sector came from outside the health sector. And somebody would say it's not really the health sector, it's the sick sector. It's where we repair people. But no prevention takes place in the hospital. So I come here out of frustration because I feel that there are many threats to democracy that we are used to talk about. Authoritarian rule, violations of human rights, poverty, but also the failure of politics to grasp the interconnections of themes that break the silos that we are organized into. We know that food, health, and sustainability are linked, but they are separate agendas in the world of politics and the way we decide and deliberate. And I think that failing to act will harm all of these 3 dimensions. EAT is trying to make what I see as a double triple. It addresses food, climate, and health, and it is challenging politics, business, and science. That is a pretty tall order. Now, I'm not that worried about business and science, because I think that business will go for opportunities where they may be. They don't care about silos or about walls. The most successful, they climb over and they move on. And true scientific people, they will always strive to understand interconnections, just like Johan explained in a way that nobody else can do, as he did. But we, politicians, and I think we are no better or worse as people, but we fail in our systems to do this. And if we lack in this equation, it's bad for democracy, because then we're not going to make decisions on behalf of people, and for the future. So a lot here, in my view, is therefore at stake. As health minister in Norway, just before I took the hint from democracy and left office, I presented the first national strategy to combat non-communicable diseases. Now, this was based on a very sequenced approach. First, there was a WHO strategy setting out global targets to deal with the risk factors that come out of the big work that you will hear more about from Chris Murray during this week, the global burden of disease. We know that the risk factors are shifting to lifestyle. And then the big picture is a good development, because 100 years ago it was poverty that represented risk factors. Today, more globally, we are talking about risk factors linked to lifestyles and so on. So there were global targets by WHO translated into national targets in Norway. So I had done my complete job inside the silo. But for each and every of those measures, I would have to depend on colleagues in government, civil society, business, science to make the movement happen. Health ministers cannot deal with road accidents and traffic. Health ministers cannot really deal with food and the food industry. Other ministers can. So we have to climb out of these silos. And how can we be inspired to do that? And I have sought one inspiration, and I think you will see what I mean. Now this one, we all have one. And we buy new ones from time to time, and we hear that they have been upgraded. So they are called 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and I think we're on to 5 and 6.0. And I asked the technological people, what does it mean to move from 1.0 to 2.0? What do you do to qualify for this upgrade? And they answered me, and it has triggered my political thought. We upgrade the ability to interconnect. So the phone is able to do things that we couldn't do with the previous version. And I thought this is what we have to do in politics. It's really what we have to do in politics. So we have to see to it that these silos come down in the way we organize at the global level. And now there are people in this room who prepared 2015 and the new goals for the world in the world for working for sustainability. I think we still have some work to do on that agenda. Because what I see from what is coming out of consultations, I see the silos re-emerge. There's a chapter for health, there's a chapter for food, there's a chapter for the environment, but there's a will to link and interconnect. But that is at the global level, where it is relatively easy because at the global level we don't decide. Unfortunately, we may say, but that's the reality. So it is still an intellectual exercise. Still, and it may be tragic, the world is composed of states. They are the decision makers in politics. So that's why we are into the way our governments are organized and how they interact. For many, many years, we have talked about coherence in national politics, that what we do with one hand has to link with what we do with another. We have improved, but we are not very good. So I come to EAT with the hope that it will supplement and give a push to these processes. This is not a decision-making fora, but it's a fora of remarkable drive and remarkable people. This is the first forum. There will be new ones, and we will learn from this one and set new agendas for the next ones. But I am convinced that the change in politics, the field that I know best, will not come only from politics itself. It has to come from interactions with the rest of society and civil society. And people and business and science and politics have to be given ownership to this in a different way. And we have to be able to measure how these interconnections work. This morning we had a session on obesity. And without going into the embargo stuff, Chris, we know that so far nobody is succeeding. It's all going in the direction which we don't want to see. And then we may ask, well, perhaps this is normal. The world is getting somehow richer, food is somehow becoming cheaper, and we are becoming more weighty. Well, that cannot be an answer. So there too we need to integrate. So I welcome EAT, and I welcome the opportunity to be a participant to move politics to 2.0. Thank you.